Hi, and welcome to Carolina Varsity's Week 6 game recaps. I'm Dale Ross.
And I'm Matt Morrow, the Pet Man. And I'm going to start off with the game I attended on Friday. Rocky River defeating Myers Park 37-14. This one, Jaquavion Alexander didn't play for Myers Park. I found out he had a concussion. So when that happened, it was going to be tough for Myers Park, to get stuff going offensively. Rocky River, the big thing with them is they got their offense going. Elijah Jett started with a 57-yard TD run. And then Deron Davis had 2 touchdowns rushing in the game. And they also had 2 touchdown passes from Christian Allen Brown, who's now their starting quarterback. So Rocky River's offense is showing some diversity. They are more of a run-first team, but they're running some zone read. I saw a little bit of Chip Kelly influence in their offense. Quarterback's a dual threat guy. He can run. He throws a decent ball. I think he fits well for what they want to do. Defensively, Rocky River, the secondary, played well. Myers Park has good receivers, and they had a real tough time getting separation and getting open. Myers Park did have a nice touchdown pass to Scotty McDaniel in the first half. I think there was a breakdown in coverage on that. But otherwise, Myers Park had a few decent runs here and there with their backup kids at running back. But, overall, Rocky River just kind of steadily, grew the lead as the game went on. Myers Park cut it to a 2-touchdown game early in the fourth quarter. They had some momentum. They forced a punt after that. But that next drive, they had a bad snap, and Clay Norris had to kick the ball out of the end zone for a safety. And that pretty much ended the game. For the most part, and Rocky River just kind of took it from there. But as I said on my article, it was great to see my former players at Myers Park, and the hospitality of the Rocky River staff and players was great. Overall, it was my most fun game to attend personally this season so far.
Right, but have you heard anything about Coach Stein as far as his status?
I have not. He was not on the sideline. I don't think he was in the press box. I took a look up there. I don't think he was there. So I hope Coach is recovering well, because they're missing him. They're definitely missing him offensively. You can kind of tell in terms of rhythm and play calling, things are a little off. And I mean, with anyone losing their head coach, things would be off for any team.
Exactly, and offensive coordinator as well.
Right.
Well, I went over to watch the Olympic Providence game. Thought it would be a good ball game, and it really was. The score final was 21-7, but it really turned out to be a good ball game on the field if you got past the turnovers and the flags that were flying. It was really good football played. It took a while for anyone to get on the board. Both teams kind of moved the ball a little bit. Olympic ended up getting on the board first with a fumble recovery by Delmarius Gilliam. Providence was running the read option, as I mentioned to you off camera, real heavily. And it seemed like that exchange between running back and quarterback, the communications, is not quite there yet. So sometimes the ball stayed in a little bit too long, then he wanted to pull it back out, and it looked like the running back didn't want to give it up. So that kind of caused some problems in exchange, and of course that hesitation and everything allowed the defense to apply more pressure, and ended up there were 5 turnovers in the ball game. 4 of them fumbles, and 3 of them fumbles by the offense, 1 by the punt return team. And then Delmarius Gilliam also late in the ball game, when Providence was driving, he broke up a pass, which resulted in an interception. But Olympic scored first, and then we went to half at 7-0. We came out, it just stayed back and forth, back and forth. Both teams getting a little bit of offense and having to punt the ball. Lots of flags, as I mentioned to you. Providence had on a punt return. You had one of those line drive punts, and as soon as it's off the kid's foot, you're telling yourself this thing's going to be returned. Yeah. Sure enough, Pro returns it, but there was a block in the back called. Then finally, Olympic broke off a big play. Providence was good about limiting the big plays out of Olympic, So Olympic was maybe getting 3-6 yards a pop. Providence was getting nothing big yards, nothing big yards out of that read option. So they were actually cracking off some rather big plays, 10 to 20 yard plays. Finally, they got a run down to the goal line by Isaac Garcia, 1st and goal at the 1. Took Olympic 4 punches to get it in, but Rod Tinsley punched it in. They went up 14-0. Then a little later in the ball game, Garcia ripped off a nice run and made it 21-0. Finally, and I'm sorry I can't remember the kicker's name, but the Providence kicker is also a receiver on the team, and he caught the only touchdown of the ball game.
Okay.
Caleb York, the quarterback at Providence, runs that read option real well. It's going to be interesting to see if they get that thing worked out, how well it'll work here in the future. But that was my ball game.
All right, good deal. We'll take a look at another ball game here. A.L. Brown defeating North Meck 30-14. We thought this game would be close. Big story out of this one: North Meck giving up at least 8 sacks to A.L. Brown. Some reports saying it was more.
18.
But North Meck does have some issues with pass protection. So A.L. Brown maybe a little sleeper here in the Mecca.
Yeah, and it looks like defense. Stepped up in that ball game. So that's definitely a game we picked them to lose. We thought it would be close, so they've kind of notched themselves one up in the league from where we predicted.
Exactly. West Mecklenburg defeated Ardrey Kell 33-0, and interesting thing in this one, Sean Wilson was held to 15 yards on 21 carries. Ardrey Kell really keyed on him, but Jalen McClendon, 4 touchdown passes. Van Smith stepping up big time with a couple of TD receptions. And one of the things that we said West Meck was going to have to do is when their running game is shut down, they're going to have to be able to throw the ball and make plays, and they did that tonight. On Friday night.
So obviously for West, that's a good sign if you shut Sean Wilson down and they're able to pick up that passing game. We expect to see more of that here in the future. I think they'll probably need it. All in all, I think it's a good win for West Meck. It's kind of a solid win, beating what we would call maybe a good football team. Maybe not a very good football team, but a good football team.
Exactly. South Mecklenburg defeated Harding 48-7, and the biggest shock was not South Mecklenburg winning. It was the 48 points.
Right.
I mean, this is a team that struggled offensively all season long, but obviously they put things together, and Harding, kind of come crashing back to earth here after a 3-0 start. Now have to find a way to recover and bounce back from that.
Exactly, and I was looking for one of my players of the week comes from that ball game.
Oh, okay.
The big thing for the Sabres was their kicker had 5 of 6 touchbacks. And the only reason he didn't have 6 was they had penalty and they had to kick off from their 25. So he was also had a 43-yard field goal in the game. He was 6 for 6 on extra points. Had a really good ball game. So from what Coach White told me, they South kind of struggled a little bit early offensively, but looks like they were able to get it back on track. So, kids, as we say, execution allows you to beat teams that maybe you shouldn't beat or that you should beat, but it allows you to be competitive with other teams as well. Execution is very important, and they executed. So.
Yeah, good job, South Meck getting their first win.
Exactly.
Vance defeated Robinson out of Concord 47-7. Pretty much what we expected here. Vance moves on, and they got a big game coming up. We'll look at in the previews.
Yeah, nothing really to say there. I think that's about what we expected.
Yeah.
And, it's going to be a tough year for Robinson in this conference.
I think so, unfortunately. Mallard Creek defeated West Charlotte 59-0. Big story here. Obviously, quarterback Emery Scaife hurt his ankle. Possibly could be out for the season. Sorry to hear that. He was obviously a preseason player to watch, committed to Appalachian State. And Mallard Creek is going to have to really come together now. Apparently, the backup quarterback came in and did some good things. So, going forward, it could be a little vulnerable, but they still got a ton of talent.
Exactly, and I'll say just a little bit about that in the game previews, but as far as other than losing the quarterback, that's the only bad thing that happened for Mallard Creek. That's obviously a bad thing, but game went kind of like we expected as well.
Definitely. Catholic defeated Berry 35-17. Initially, when this score came across, I was thinking that maybe it was a struggle, but Coach Otto, in his typical fashion, kind of called the dogs off. Elijah Hood only pretty much played in the first half. Only had 10 carries for over 100 yards. Berry, Omar Baker had a pretty good game throwing the ball once again, but Catholic was never really seriously threatened in this ball game, and they move on in conference play.
Yeah, Hood didn't play because of he was sick and was real tired, so they didn't play him in the second half, and actually gave some other players an opportunity. You should use these kind of games to develop players. So we expected a win. Maybe we didn't expect an 18-point differential, but I think we got what we expected in the end.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Hough defeated Hopewell 42-13. Big story in this one. Hough got the passing game going again. Josh Steele had a big game. 6 touchdown passes, 294 yards. Reports say Hopewell stopped the run better than they have, earlier in the season. So if that's true, that's a sign of progress for that defense because, they had trouble stopping the run and the pass. So, if you stop one thing, you're on your way to, progressing and, getting better, which is, the main thing Hopewell should be focusing on.
Exactly. Of course, their big, when I saw them, their biggest issue is with the pass defense. So we'll have to see how that works out for them. They're going to get tested this week, I'm sure.
Yeah. Independence defeated East Mecklenburg 69-0, and I tell you, this is kind of what we expected here. Independence is kind of a team that has been under the microscope the past couple of weeks in some big games.